Good morning.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to our New Jersey's Cheon One prayer visual. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Let's begin by greeting our heavenly parents and true parents. Chanjin Champanuke Kyombe. Claro. We will now recite the family pledge, first in Korean.
가정 만세6 한일국 주인 우리 가정은 천사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 되신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Thank you. Number 6. Our family, the owner of Chanoguk, pledges to become a family that moves heavenly fortune by embodying the heavenly parent and true parents, and to perfect a family that conveys heaven's blessings to our community by centering on true love. Thank you. Now for opening prayer, can I please ask Mr. Hans Moyer to open us up in morning prayer, please?
Good morning, Heavenly Parent. Thank you for another beautiful day of life. And we thank you for this weekend at Belvedere that we could share together. And let us really take the time to reflect deeply on how you are speaking to each one of our hearts at this time. And we pray that you can guide us to come closer to you, to our true parents, and rediscover our own identity as your sons and daughters, and manifest, and Father, our love and truth through our families into society. Father, please guide this morning's devotion. I pray all these things now in my name, Hans Moyer, from a blessed central family. Aju.
Aju. Thank you so much, Mr. Moyer, for opening us up in morning prayer. All right, we'll now go into our morning light stretches. So let's begin by taking 3 deep breaths in and out. Okay, while we're breathing in, we'll lift our hands all the way up, and breathing out, we'll come back all the way down. Okay, breathe in and out. Another one in and out. Last one in and out. All right, now big reach to the sky. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stretch to the left side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reach forward, arching your back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Okay, we'll do neck rotation side to side. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. We'll do shoulder rotations. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and we'll take your hand facing down and pull it towards you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. And you move your hand, switch it going towards up, and then pull. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch your other hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. We'll cross your arms and also do wrist rotations at the same time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, switch. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. And I will reach towards our back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And we'll do body rotations. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And last 10 seconds, you can massage or stretch any body part you feel needs a little bit of waking up this morning. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Amazing. All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're wide awake, warmed up, and ready to share any appreciations and gratitudes for today. I will see you guys in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed their breakout rooms today. For our representative sharing, can I please ask Mrs. Diane Kawahara to share her gratitude and appreciation for today?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm at Elm Park in Worcester, Massachusetts. I woke up this morning and I was so inspired just to get out the door and bring the literature with me. I don't have any blessing material. I'm not at that stage where I can actually go around doing blessings because I'm pretty much alone. But I have my literature here and I'll show it to you. I don't know if you can see all the stuff. I bought a new table and yeah, I bought a new table and I'm just sitting here in the park enjoying people walking by. And if anybody wants to stop and talk about the good news, then I'm here. And I've never done this before. So this is a new experience for me. And but I really enjoyed Damian Dunkley's sermon yesterday. I was up late last night listening to it, and it was so funny. And he's such a good speaker. I didn't go to Belvedere, but my husband did, and he got the blessing for his parents in spirit world, and we're so happy about that. So that's my gratitude. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cora.
Mhm.
You didn't share the first part, so that was really nice to hear about what you're doing at the park today. So thank you so much for sharing that, and good luck. I'm sure you're going to reach so many
Thanks.
people's hearts today.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, we will now be moving on to True Mother's memoir. So please prepare your hearts and mind as we listen to Dr. Ward as he shares True Mother's reading and his insights for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, brothers and sisters, and good morning, Diane. And thank you for being out there on the front line. God bless you. And that's wonderful. Very, very inspiring. Thank you. So let's begin with our reading of Mother of Peace for today, the 3rd of June, 2024. We keep in mind the need to stop the steady destruction of the ecosystem. We know that in the name of economic development, we are losing the Amazon rainforest at the cost of damaging the Earth's ecosystem. Overfishing and the rapacious killing of valuable animals for monetary profit also are a serious problem. At the same time, more than 800 million people around the world regularly go hungry. Some South American countries have abundant stocks of beef and wheat, yet they cannot prevent malnutrition. In the midst of our education and community building in Latin America, we conduct plant and animal research on how to best utilize the local resources while protecting nature. The wings of monarch butterflies span only 8 centimeters, a little more than 3 inches, but they migrate 3,000 miles between Canada and Mexico every winter. No one taught them to do this. It is encoded in their nature. Human beings and nature have an inseparable relationship. We can be enlightened to God's act of creation and his mystical truth through nature, which represents him. Only when we live in it, invest in it, and study it, we can feel the kind of infinite joy and love that God felt when he created the earth for us. When we do so, we can live each day with a heart of love and gratitude. The land in which we can learn this truth is Latin America. Through family-oriented love, as one family under God, we can discover our original homeland in this land, God's gift of nature. And now we're switching to another part of the world. The world's parliamentarians share one heart. Nepal has no seashore, but having the world's tallest mountains makes up for that. Countless hikers and healthy tourists visit Nepal, as it has 8 of the world's 10 highest mountain peaks, and its border passes over the very tallest peak, Mount Everest. But Nepal sits secluded between China and India, and the development of its largely agrarian economy is not keeping up with its neighbors. Thank you. So I'm going to try to cover a lot of territory this morning, and this is, I guess, the last day where Latin America is mentioned, but I'm going to primarily speak a little bit about Latin America today. And AULA is an organization created by true parents to further, to bring Latin America together. It's called the Association Pro Latin American Unity. And so I want to talk a little bit about the context for that and some of the problems that Mother has spoken about that Latin America faces today. The Europeans came to conquer Latin America in the 15th and 16th centuries. That's the end of the 15th and the 16th century. And when they came and they succeeded, I mean, basically that first of all, there was Cortez's conquest of Mexico. There was Pizarro's conquest of the northern portion of South America. The very bottom part of Latin America was not so interesting to the Spaniards when they came, because they were mostly interested in the places where they could get gold. But interestingly, that part of Latin America became very wealthy. When they arrived, Latin America was divided into vice regencies, into these very large districts. And each of those large districts, one of them was called, as you can see on the map there, the Viceroyalty of New Spain, was led by a viceroy. And you could ask, well, what is a viceroy? And very specifically, in Spanish, they're called vire, and in French, it's called vice-roi. That's what viceroy comes from, the French there. But what it means literally is vice king. So Latin America was divided into these 5 vice regencies, and the vice king oversaw things, but was required to follow a very strict regime during his time in power. The strict guidelines included, first of all, could not marry. The reason the viceroy couldn't marry is they were concerned that if he did marry, that he and his wife would want to become king and queen and stay there forever. Secondly, they were limited to just a 5-year term while they lived and ruled in one of these areas for the king. And also there was the principle of the royal fifth, which meant that 1/5 of all the wealth that they were able to accumulate while they were there had to go to the king. So really, unfortunately, this became kind of like a money grab for those who went into these different places. And so likewise, the hierarchy was based on race in Latin America. At the very top were the peninsulars. The peninsulars were people who had been born in Spain, and they were the ones that had the right to have political power. Second were the Creoles. They were also pure Spaniard in terms of their ethnicity, but they had been born in Latin America, and because they'd been born there, they could not have any political power. Third were the mestizos. The mestizos were mixed between the Spanish and the Amerindians of the region. Fourth were the Native American Indians. And finally were the enslaved persons, particularly many, many Africans who came to South America as slaves. So when the time came for independence at the beginning of the 19th century, it was really pushed by the Creoles, by those born in Latin America without political power. And they were the ones who wanted to go against Spain because they wanted to have their own political voice, if you will. There were 3 key figures, Francisco de Miranda, who actually started the independence movement at the beginning of the 18th century. There was Simón Bolívar, and there was José de San Martín. And I want to speak particularly about Simón Bolívar and José de San Martín. San Martín pushed from the south to the north. He was actually born in Corrientes, which is the Argentine area. And likewise, Simón Bolívar was born in Caracas. So these were 2 Creoles. They were born, they had no political power. And in the early 18th century, these calls for independence began to emerge. Bolívar's dream was actually to bring, all of the Americas, including North America, into one. And even the United States gave a special award to Bolívar, recognizing his commitment to want to do that and his commitment to ideals that resonated with those of the United States. José de San Martín, for his part, he began in the South, and I'm sure you've all heard about how Hannibal crossed the Alps. Well, San Martín did something very similar. He had to cross not the Alps, but he had to cross the Andes in order to bring about the liberation. First of all, he did his home country of what became Argentina, then Chile, and then he also was able to liberate Peru. However, there was a big difference between Hannibal and what San Martín did. The highest mountain in the Alps is about 4,800 meters. However, the highest mountain in the Andes is 6,950 meters or 22,000 feet. And there wasn't just one mountain in the Andes of 22,000 feet. There were many of them. They're the second highest mountain range in the world besides the Himalayas that we read about a little this morning. And San Martin had to navigate those, you know. He had about 6,000 soldiers with him as he went across the Alps to bring about the liberation of Chile. And even in that exercise, more than 2,000 of them perished. So at an enormous price, and risking his own life, he fought to be able to bring about the liberation of first Argentina, second Chile, and finally Peru. For his part, San Martin fought from the north, and likewise was able to liberate what would become Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, and eventually the two of them, they were to meet in a city called Guayaquil in Ecuador. Simón Bolívar was referred to as the liberator by his people, and José de San Martin was called the protector. And they met in 1822 in Guayaquil. Everything was done. The conquest was done, except there was still one Spanish fort in Ayacucho in Brazil, in Peru, that had to be liberated. And they met to discuss about how to handle that final fort and how to get to do what they wanted to do. And San Martin made three proposals to Bolivar. His first proposal was he asked Bolivar to give him a certain number of Bolivar's troops, and he would like to complete the liberation of Peru, which he'd already begun. Actually, in 1821, he had declared the independence of Peru from Spain, and he'd already liberated a significant part of Peruvian territory. But when he made that proposal, Bolivar would not accept it. So the second proposal that he made was, he said, what about if we liberate the final Spanish bastion together? And also Bolivar would not accept that. And so the third option that he made was, he said to Bolivar, how about if we liberate the final Spanish bastion and I fight under you? And Bolivar said no. So it became a dilemma for San Martin. Bolivar fought the Battle of Ayacucho alone and without San Martin. San Martin, he resigned all of his posts, gave up everything, and he went back shortly to Argentina. But even in that area, there was a lot of battle among different leaders who was going to control what. And he was very disillusioned with the South American dream, and he lived the final part of his life in Europe because he just thought there's no hope. Too much bickering, too much fighting, too much rivalry. This part of the world doesn't have a future if we handle things like that. And Bolivar himself faced a similar fate after the liberation of Ayacucho. Likewise, the many generals that fought under Bolivar, they began to fight among themselves, and they also began to fight with him. And so instead of and Bolivar essentially died alone, and very, very brokenhearted by what had happened and by the division. And in reality, what happened was that instead of Bolivar's dream of a unified Latin America, something similar to the United States, maybe some of you are not aware, but places like Pennsylvania and Connecticut and New York, they were virtually countries before. And they had their own foreign policies, they had their own economies, there was even a war. There was a war between Connecticut and Pennsylvania over a significant territory. These were countries, and somehow at the time of the US Constitution, they had to make a choice. Are we going to be separate countries, or are we going to give up a certain amount of our sovereignty so that we can stay together? And the choice in the case of the United States was to surrender a portion of the sovereignty to stay together. But in the case of Latin America, that's not what happened. The tragedy is that these military leaders, they kind of seized Latin America, and Latin America just was reduced to a series of countries, which were fortresses led by the military. And that period went from virtually 150 years. Latin America was ruled by generals from 1830 to the 1980s. Almost all of Latin America was in that situation. Generals are trained primarily for the national defense. That's what they're there for. They're not trained to create and run businesses. They're not trained to guide economic development. They're not trained to build political institutions. They're not trained to establish law and rule of law. They're not trained to establish human rights protocols. That's not what generals exist for. They can be repressive. They want to control power. That's what they want to do. So the tragedy is that for 150 years, Latin America suffered under military dictatorships. And the people who lived in Latin America, they suffered. They suffered from hunger. They suffered from repression. They suffered from disease. You know, in Latin America, there's a disease called dengue. Maybe some of you have had it. You know, it's similar to malaria, but also there's something called hemorrhagic dengue, where you basically bleed to death. You know, and it's a major disease, but they've never been able to address it. We addressed COVID, we addressed AIDS, but there was never any real campaign to get rid of dengue. It's still there. One of our members died of dengue just a few months ago. Some of you may be aware of that. There just was no cohesiveness. There was no unity in our continent between the United States and Latin America. So this tragic situation has gone on for 150 years. And we read Mother's words yesterday. I wept many times over the pain of the people who led arduous lives under those spacious skies in Latin America, because of their circumstance, because they didn't really have a voice, and because there was really a lot of just money grabs, power grabs for such a long period of time. So Mother nevertheless harbored this hope of a restored Latin America. And we read this morning, she says, we can be enlightened to God's act of creation and its mystical truth through nature, which represents him only when we live in it, invest in it, and study it. And she says the land in which we can learn this truth is Latin America. Through family-oriented love, as one family under God, we can discover our original homeland in this land, God's gift of nature. So in the midst of all of these dictatorships, true parents began to turn their attention in the 1980s to Latin America. And one of the things that they could see was the power of the Latin American family. They could recognize it. It wasn't a blessed family, but it was prepared for that, prepared to move on to that level. You know, sometimes when you, I don't know, I'm sure some of you may have experienced this. Sometimes when you face great repression and difficulty and challenges, the one thing that keeps you together is family. And during these 150 years of repression and difficulty, and prior to that, the control of Latin America by Europe, during all this period of time, somehow the family, particularly in these simple situations, you know, not the wealthy, but the simple, somehow family became very, very strong, played a very fundamental role, and really served as a means to be able to survive in Latin America. So true parents turned their attention to Latin America in the 1980s, and it was during that period of time where step by step, all of these countries, which for so long had been military dictatorships, had been very, very repressive, they began to turn towards democracy and to rule of law. And it was during that period of time that true parents created Aula, talking about the reunification of Latin America. And here in this photo, you see a number of heads of state and former heads of state meeting with the Pope because of the facilitation of our true parents making that possible. And the hope of Latin America being able to come together as one country. This was what the dream that Bolivar had, but this is the dream that really true parents really, they reignited and called for it to happen. And the great thing is, even if there are many imperfections in today's Latin America for a variety of reasons, the path was open during this time for Latin America to become a true democracy. And the foundation of that was true parents' appreciation of Latin America and the very powerful roots of the Latin American family. We know that democracy provides a foundation for the building of God's ideal. That's why democracy exists. Democracy is meant to pave the way towards the realization of Cheon. So thank you, true parents, for showering your love, not just in North America, not just on South America, but on all of the Americas. And it's our responsibility to respond to you now to open the way towards the coming of Cheon. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Ward, for such an inspirational message today and these amazing insights, so detailed. So thank you so much for that. And I'm sure we all have so many amazing insights to share with each other today. So we'll now go into our breakout rooms to share any key takeaways or insights that we have gotten. We'll see you guys in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had amazing things to share with everyone today in their breakout room. So please feel free to share in our chat any key words or takeaways that you'd like to share with everyone. All right, I would like to now pass it on to Pastor Taquino for any announcements and our Attention One prayer.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Dr. Ward. I love his history, and I don't know so much about the history of the Latin America. Amazing, amazing. Thank you. It's we have to give the tuition to Dr. Ward. Okay. June 3rd, join prayer. Johnson one prayer. Okay. So today, June 3rd, so until June 6th, we focus to pray these 5 points for the safety of the true parents and the true family, for a victorious entrance into the Cheon sanctum in Cheonwon, to successfully witness to new people, especially young people, and for real church growth, for the unification of North and South Korea, and the heavenly unified Korea, to overcome all crises affecting our world and to realize a heavenly unified world. So, today we have no prayer vigil starting from Tuesday to Saturday. Tuesday through Saturday, we have a prayer vigil. So this week, we have a CAP workshop from June 6th to June 9th. Still, the registration link is open. If you like to invite your contact, especially age group between 18 and 40, please, you still have a chance to invite them. And yes, so please know that they have a workshop at the Clifton Family Church. And as I shared, and as you know, Reverend Dunkley sharing yesterday, the 1,000 couple blessing. So it's not just the number, but this is an opportunity. So we like to give the many opportunity to our second gen, first gen, Christian clergy, our neighbors, pre-married couple through the HD Heavenly Tribal Messiah. We like to give many opportunity to invite them to the Korea, to Korea, attending the cosmic level blessing. So yeah, this is one of the opportunity about learning or more understanding about blessing. So by Zoom, level 2 blessing education program. And also now I would like to focus our community family festival on June 16. We did it 3 or 4 years ago, World Culture Festival at Wilsbrook Park. We are thinking similar style of the festival in there. So I like to invite all ethnic group, Rafael, Noriko-san, Isu, Giovanni, Amy, yeah, all and Thai group, Wachari, so all ethnic group. So please think about to prepare your performance, ethnic group performance. And Pastor Naokimi would like to have a World Culture Festival at there, plus family festival. So now we are preparing the flyer, and Pastor Naokimi asking me to share the witnessing team to distribute a flyer to all our neighbors. They stop by, or usually they stop by our festival. What's going on there, something. So this is a good opportunity to connecting the people. So, and also Pastor Naokimi sharing inviting your prayer list members to this family festival. So this is a family. This is one of the solution of our 6 months effort about the family group. So let's continue to pray for your care people and contact them and invite them. The weather forecast, it will be partly cloudy, but 83 degrees. And the next week, we have ACLC National 24th anniversary. And actually, this is the Reverend Abernathy Church. This is the first time, no, second time. Noel John Church, we did it. So this is the second time we have this kind of the big gathering at the Christian church. And they like to have a peace start with me and the Reverend Abernathy. They like to share their blessing activities. So everybody the open everybody. So if you are interested about Christianity, to connecting to the Christianity, Turumada always talk about now Europe and Korea. So please join to this anniversary, and registration link already we shared with you, so you can just access to the registration link to apply it. Okay. Finally, I like to share another. Starting from this week, we will update our database. We have a total 1642 name list and 653 single young members, 18 and older. Of course, this is a few years ago or 7 years ago database. We like to update. So, and we like to know all our blessed families' situation. Are they still live in New Jersey, or they moved out to another state, or second gen? They live in New Jersey or not? So we like a person now Kim is sharing, nobody left behind. No one left behind. That is a person now Kim and I and all New Jersey communities actually the kind of the vision and the mission statement. We wanna embrace everybody. That's a true mother. After true father ascended, true mother made a decision, made a commitment. Embrace as a motherly heart, everyone embracing as a motherly heart. So let's create such a community together, and not just a pastor's effort. Everyone, community, let's create that kind of community together. So today I would like to invite Mr. Sprain to pray. Good morning. Let's pray. Beloved Heavenly Parents, true parents, when we look at the history of mankind and we look at ourselves today, we see that there are no real problems. God has bestowed everything we need for peaceful lives and wonderful lives. All human problems are problems of relationships. People just can't get along with people in a godly fashion. How tragic it is. Every problem can be solved in this world if we just have good relationships. What a tragedy to watch this world day by day, to watch so much suffering. And all it is just people can't get along with people because they don't know God. Thank you, God, that we met true parents
because we would be doing the same thing if we didn't know what we know today. And I hope and pray that we can tell everybody about God, about true parents, that we can have peace on earth, that we can live in a God, that the world can be one big family. Our children don't have to know what we know, and our grandchildren don't have to live the way we lived. Thank you, God, for letting us be alive at this time. And please bless us to meet good people this week, every day, every week, so we can expand this providence. Please be with us and help us say the things we need to say and do the things we need to do to bring more people to know God, so we can bring peace on earth and goodwill towards men through ideal blessed families. So we offer this prayer today in gratitude that we are here and hopeful that the world will be joining us soon. In my name, Steve Sprague, and a blessed Central family. Adieu.
Aju, please feel free to unmute for unison prayer.
Good morning, Heavenly Parent. Good morning, our true parents.
Morning.
We want to thank you
Another beautiful
for this chance to hear Mother's words from her memoir. Really knowing that Mother traveled all over the world, but she didn't just visit the island. She came to know them and understand the people who were there, to understand their hearts and their suffering and their situation, and to be creative and how could she and how could the true parents better people's lives? How could she help people to reach God and to really take care of them? Really just want to thank you for Dr. Ward. To hear the backstory is so amazing. To hear the history, to really know where why the situation is as it is, and why the challenges are as they are. So grateful that Dr. Ward is so knowledgeable and able to just we go into things thinking we understand something, thinking we know something, but we really don't. We really know how goodness is like that.
In this miserable
So much
situation,
about how to love
hungry and thirsting
everybody,
for righteousness.
not to assume
Everybody is a potential
people based on what we hear from they do, because
to bring
we
people
know
to
their
this church.
backstory, Heavenly Parent, and we
These
really want to understand their story,
people
their
into this
history,
church.
where they come from,
To
and
make the best
how
service possible.
where they are,
To
so
make the
that we can
best
truly love them
expression of
as
God's
Mother has loved Latin America, Mother has loved the whole
help us
world.
model God.
She
Let us
didn't just
people
visit
see us
people,
to see
or
God.
really go
Let us
as a tourist to see nice
mindful
things.
that people
We want
every
to
day.
understand their
We are
feelings,
representing
parent, and
Christ.
when we want to
I'm
think
representing
about
God.
witnessing to
People are
thousands
looking at
of
us.
people,
We can save the
think
world.
about all
All
that
we're
you
gonna
can. We
do
have to understand their
is build
story,
ideal
how
families.
they
My
separated
my
from our true parents, how they
can be an
separated
ideal family.
our
Kingdom of God is
people.
here.
We're not willing to
Father,
listen
pray for
to the stories, Heavenly
all
Parent. We're
the
not really
suffering
willing to
and the
dissect
wars.
these
Let
stories, Heavenly Parent. How can we even go
the
out into
swords
the
and
community?
corners.
We
The
have to
spirit of the
hear
pruning hooks
and
to bring
witness
peace
love
and
and
compassion towards men.
because
How
the
strange
situation
it
there
is
might be
when we
tough
get
enough
people,
to
little
walk
wise
and
people,
have big enough hearts
leaders of
to even have enough
nations.
we
We look
really
at
would.
them,
How
nations,
can we
national
have
leaders, and the
love?
evil that spewed out of their
How
mouth.
can we lead our children right,
Then we look at
Parent? How
generals
can we
speaking evil when they
love people who
crazy people.
just
Oh
very
God, try to
difficult choices
the
about
world, and
what
they don't know
looks
God.
like and what it implies. It's so easy to judge people and
Pray
parent
for this
and to
nation of
shove
America.
people and push people
And
away.
in
We did
this,
that so
in
many
this,
times. How can we
yes,
amend ourselves just
the
like
world is
that?
so bad. You have
We
chosen
make
America to
amends for
protect
how
your properties, to protect
we
your
ignored them or pushed them.
Aju. Thank you, everyone, for the unison prayer. And thank you everyone for joining us here today. I hope everyone has a happy Monday, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Not a few minutes. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
great
Happy
day.
Monday.
Happy Monday.